Heidi Voigt with us this time. Don't forget, folks, Thursday morning, 7:23, Saturday afternoon at 12:53. Start that home search at VoigtJohnson.com. Hello, Heidi.
Hello.
What are we talking about today?
Well, it's August, but, fall is on the mind.
Yes.
So.
And again, we were talking with your associate Brandon about this whole winter, spring, summer, fall kind of attitude. What's your take on that? Is there a new normal out there?
Well, I do think that there's going to be a little bit of a new normal, and my hopes for the new normal is that some of the changes that are being made with the settlements and that have occurred with the National Association of Realtors, even though Minnesota was doing so many things right, I think what it puts to task is that the groundwork that Minnesota has set to do things right now applies to every agent that's out there. And the hope would be that the consumer benefit of that, especially from the perspective of buyers, is that they will have a more clear picture of what they're contractually running into. So I think that there's going to be the opportunity for buyers to actually sit down or visit with agents prior to starting a process and understand that they're getting into something that they're going to be contractually bound, and understand the process of how people get paid, how you get under contract, all those things. So I think there's that new normal is there. But if you're talking about statistical new normal, I think that it changes all the time, because we have a different normal in an election year than we do in a non-election year. I mean, those are all economic climate type things that change how people act, because everything we do is lifestyle driven, which means that it's also probably a little bit emotionally driven, and that comes into play with what we're doing.
And people are going to make the choice, right? They'll figure out all the factors. Like, I still take the legal pad and draw the line down the middle, pros and cons.
For sure.
And if they can afford it, they'll do it.
For sure. If it makes sense for them, people will.
Right.
And sometimes even when they can't afford it, they'll do it.
True. Because
that's kind of an American thing.
So we have a lot of good things that are happening right now, right? Rates have come down a tad. And how about pricing on homes? I got to think values are still as good as ever.
They are, but I would say that is more relative to what price point you're buying in. And so when we're looking at, housing, let's say in our area from, the 450 to 700 range, that we're not seeing increases, and we're also seeing a little bit more inventory. So, your ability to possibly be more selective in what you're purchasing there is because there's more inventory.
Sure.
So from that perspective, like the bigger scheme of it is that are you buying a better product that does not have the requirement for more improvements? Maintenance, which means the overall cost of that product is actually a little bit less if you are making those wise decisions.
I can really paint that picture really well. Okay, say you live in a home that is 20 years old.
Correct.
Everything's original.
Yep.
You have an opportunity to go buy a brand new home. It's going to be a little bit more expensive.
Yep.
But I bet that in the end, when you put all those numbers together, you're going to come out ahead with the new place, because you don't have to worry about things breaking down. You don't have to worry about a new roof. Am I right?
You are, but the factor with that would be is where that new construction is. Is it where you want to be
location?
Yeah. So all those things come into play for sure, and that's where we're having conversations with buyers and sellers across the board. You talk about the interest rates going down a little bit, which is great. I think the interest rates going down a little bit, combined with that the inventory is generally a little bit less volatile in the fall. Like the people that list in the fall are usually people that have lifestyle changes going on. So the selection might be a little bit different from the fall versus the spring from a planning perspective. But some of the stats that I'm seeing at this point is that a buyer is going to have about $22,000 more purchasing power right now than they did in May.
That's huge.
Yeah, and if you're in a price range of 250,000, that
Yeah.
gives you a situation where maybe you're actually buying for 230, or maybe you're pushing yourself up to 275. And I can tell you the difference between those two homes in our market is dramatic.
So is the competition going to be better for us, right?
I think that the competition perspective from a buyer is that they're not going to have to make as many urgent decisions that are going to end up being buying mistakes,
Yeah.
because there's less people that you're competing with at that point. So
I am tired of having that kind of pressure because
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
Yes, yeah. So, and the lower you go in price, the more competition you have. But I like representing both sellers and buyers in the fall, because I feel like buyers are making good decisions. They're getting uninflated pricing.
Yeah.
And from the perspective of fall, sellers, a lot of times it's lifestyle changes, and a lot of times those are exciting lifestyle changes for them. So it's a good opportunity for both sides.
And I will tell folks that are in their mid 50s to late 60s, this is your time.
Yeah.
Set yourself up for your time. Do
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Yeah.
I love talking with you about this stuff, Heidi, because it's so good for just a broad brushstroke all the way across the board. When
For
you
sure.
buy homes, you moving up, it's always a good thing.
For sure.
How do we work with you over at Voigt Johnson, Heidi?
Well, you can call us anytime at 320-774-2400. We have a great gallery of agents on our website, which is VoigtJohnson.com.
All righty, young lady, thank you.
You bet.
AM 1450, FM 99.3, KNSI. Again, don't forget, take that home search with you. Start it at VoigtJohnson.com. Listen to the show every Thursday morning, 7:23, Saturday afternoon at 12:53. Taking you